Hey, welcome to the Big Bluecast. We're here coming off of bye week. Not much really football to talk. Kind of before we dive into our little discussion about basketball preseason stuff with basketball coming up in a couple weeks. But kind of just looking ahead to the Vanderbilt game. Really, would you say the biggest topic of discussion in terms of just like the football landscape right now, coming off the Georgia game week and a half ago? Basically we're still just kind of talking like, is the offense going to look better and who's our quarterback right now? That's pretty much like the discussion right now, right?
Pretty much, and all signs are
Yeah,
pointing towards Gatewood as the quarterback.
right. I mean, everything we're seeing, really last week and especially this week, it looks like they're definitely kind of shifting gears towards kind of giving him the keys to the offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's all speculation at this point, but
Sure.
educated
Yeah,
guess says Gatewood.
it would make sense, especially how, like we talked about after the Georgia game, the way he showed out and looked pretty good, all things considered, against a team like Georgia. And like I think I'd said back when we did our Georgia episode, as far as I'm concerned, when you're looking at who should kind of be the guy going forward, my thought was if if Terry Wilson doesn't give you something that's going to make him more valuable than Joey Gatewood on the field, then Gatewood as the future should be your guy. Um, I know we talked about this off the air recently, but I know there's been some scuttlebutt and stuff this week going around that Terry Wilson had actually thought about stepping away from the program for the remainder of the year. Now, I've not really seen anything else today to either like confirm or deny that sort of thing. Like they were trying to say, potentially maybe they exaggerated the extent that Terry was injured. Um, just to we're planning on just giving a good look at Joey Gatewood with the idea that maybe Terry was going to be stepping away. Uh, what are your just kind of general thoughts on that whole situation or lack thereof?
Well, I mean, whenever the press conference happened there, and I was reading some of the
Yeah.
articles from numerous different sites that had covered it,
Hmm.
when the question was asked about
Yeah.
Wilson, it was neither
Hmm.
confirmed nor denied. They actually kind of just sat there and talked about how
Exactly.
Terry was there for the program and would continue to be so, and
Yeah.
all that good stuff. And
Politicians
yeah,
answer
politician
like.
exactly, kind of deflecting, so
Mhm.
to speak, away from directly answering the question itself.
Right. Which I mean, I understand. Like, I understand them doing that, especially if they don't really know yet. But and at the same time, like you're looking at that and thinking if it's nonsense, then they probably would just say, no, that's nonsense. Terry's our quarterback, or he's still with the team 100%. He's good to go. I guess we'll see. Like I said, I've not really seen anything else this week, in the last couple of days that really says anything else, anything else really speaking to that. But it definitely is interesting. I can understand, especially just the injuries he's dealt with, to get hurt again. He's got a new daughter, you know, that whole situation, looking at it for what it was, like we had talked about yesterday, I can understand, especially if they're saying, okay, like he's hurt his wrist, he'll probably be back in a couple weeks or whatever. If Gate was just thinking, I want to take care of my body, like go help, take care of my daughter, not put all my time into football. I mean, I get it, especially if his mindset was, if we see that Joey Gatewood looks good against Georgia, and we know that like the offense is in okay hands with him kind of being at the helm with Bo Allen as his backup, like then he's okay to step away. Like I can understand that.
Yeah, fully.
People are, yeah, I can see. I'm sure if it's true, if it turns out like he's gone, I can see it's the same brand of people that just like harp on Terry Wilson constantly about how he needs to be replaced are going to be the people that say, oh, he shouldn't quit like in the middle of the year. He shouldn't be doing this. And that. I mean, it's going to be those people.
Oh yeah,
But at the end of the day, it's like, especially if his concern was, I don't want to step away unless the program's going to be fine. Don't want to just like leave him without a quarterback.
yeah. And
Like
if he did get
it's
injured, I
different.
mean, I don't see any
Yeah.
reason why he wouldn't have been injured and sit out.
Yeah.
I think if he wanted to sit out, he'd have just sat out, and Stoops had been like, "Hey, this is we're going to try Joey Gatewood out for the whole game, see what he does."
Just see. Yeah.
Um, Wilson got banged up a little bit, so we're going to give him another week to get better. I can see
Yeah.
that being the case. I don't see him saying he had a wrist injury and
Right. That whole
not
thing was,
having that. That's just sounds way too out there for me.
to exaggerate an injury. Yeah,
I could see
that's a
him
bit
having the wrist
cheap.
injury and possibly at this point going, "Hey, I'm done with football after this year.
Yeah.
I don't want to be crippled up the rest of my life going out here getting hurt when you've got somebody else that
Yeah.
can take over the program right now."
Yeah. I mean, you look at quarterbacks that we've had in the Stoops era, even guys like Steven Johnson and such, that, by the time he was done, I mean, his shoulders are trash. Like, he's going to be in pain, like, kind of the rest of his life. He's going to have really bad trouble as he gets older. I can see Terry being like, I know my future, like, this has been great, but my future is not football.
Right.
And especially where he has, priorities otherwise now with a new child and everything else. Yeah, I could totally understand saying, like, I don't need to add to my injury list. Like, it's going to be bad enough that he's been dealing with the knee stuff and everything else. Like, that's going to give him trouble as he gets older. I mean, I get it. We'll see. And it could all just be nonsense, and he could end up just being Joey Gatewood's backup, saying, I'm fine to come in and help out when I need to.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you. I do think that, and we talked about it after the, just kind of leading up into bye week and looking ahead to Vanderbilt. I think Joey Gatewood's the guy.
Yeah.
Should be. It makes sense. He's capable. He's the future. Go ahead and start investing in him this year. Why not?
Yeah. I'm going to do a real quick live radio thing and step out for just a second. If you want to continue talking to the viewers, I'll be right back.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, I don't know. Like, especially if you're Terry Wilson and you're looking ahead to, I mean, not just the Vanderbilt game, but 2 weeks from now, like, he's got Alabama followed by Florida. There's potential he could get really banged up in those games, and maybe it's just not worth it. I don't know. Like I said, I think it's going to be, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see on Saturday. It could be one of those things where, we tend to do that as UK fans, whether it's football or basketball. We turn something into something more than it is. It might be just that. We might be laughing at ourselves here in a few days. As far as the Vanderbilt game goes, and we'll ask Tom about this when he gets back. And we kind of touched on this after the Georgia game. The biggest thing that I'm really looking for, as far as just what I'm looking for out of the team as a whole, like, just signs. I mean, Georgia, we kind of knew what to expect. We probably weren't going to win. Kind of is what it is. But we just wanted to look competitive and look competent. The defense looks awesome. The offense, there's room for improvement. And
definitely room for improvement.
Yeah, big time room for improvement. And, we kind of talked about, is it, a quarterback problem? Is it the wide receivers? Is it the play calling? I think if we, as like a small little sample body of work, if after this Saturday's game, I think we can kind of take the Georgia game and the Vanderbilt game together and be able to come up with some kind of answer. Surely, hopefully. That's the biggest thing I'm looking for in this game coming up on Saturday, is just to see, like, if they've made some adjustments, some improvements, if things that we had trouble with 2 weeks ago look better now.
Yeah, I'm looking to see that they show up to play football because it's Vandy, and that they don't go, oh, we're double-digit favorites. We don't have to show up and play today.
Coming off a bye week.
Yeah, coming off a bye week. I'm really hoping that they don't lose focus and look past Alabama. Because this is kind of a setup game for that, kind of a trap game, so to speak.
Sure.
And
the
offense, we should see something good out of the offense, needless to say, because it's Vandy.
Mm-hmm. The script is flipped this time, because Georgia, you're like, well, it's one of the best defenses, like, in the whole country, so just hope for the best and hope that it's not their own mistakes, like dropping passes and stuff. Vanderbilt, if the offense is struggling, it's on the offense.
Yeah, 100%.
If they're not able to, they can't cut up that defense, like, that's on them. And I think it's a pretty simple formula going into the Vanderbilt game. Don't stink and just hope we see something promising.
Use this
since we
use
do
Vandy
have
as a confidence builder for the offense.
Absolutely. Yeah, big time.
Try some new things.
Especially,
Try some new plays. Don't be shy, Eddie Grant, about opening the playbook up. And
yeah, I'd like to. That's the thing. Like, and I know a lot of people are kind of mirroring what I'm about to say. A lot of people are saying, especially against Vanderbilt, like let Gatewood. I mean, and granted, whether or not they actually drew up plays for him to throw it deeper or not, I don't know. You take what Stoop said with a grain of salt, but that's what I'd like to see. That whether it's the play calling allowing him to do it or him having the confidence to do it, I like to see him just like doing more stuff. And because his first real game was against Georgia, so like, what do you expect? But against Vanderbilt, like, if he is that good, we should see him doing a variety of things, trying different stuff out, and just seeing how it goes. Um, but especially against them, he should be able to either run it or do some dink and dunk stuff, maybe throw some deep balls and actually have some success because they're terrible.
yeah,
Knock on.
exactly. I mean, Alabama's going to be a whole different animal. Florida's going to be a whole different animal. So
It's going to be back to like how we were for the Georgia game, probably even more so. Like, please just one, don't get hurt. Two, like, let's just make sure that if they're beating us, it's because they're just outclassing us and not because we're doing dumb stuff.
yeah, and I mean, we won't know
Uh,
till probably game day whether Eddie Grant is going to be there or not. So
yeah, yeah. And now that we have that kind of stuff going on, the Vanderbilt. I know Vanderbilt's having their program's having trouble with COVID and stuff right now. There's questions about Eddie Grant. It's up in the air, even if they're actually going to play or if the thing's going to get canceled.
well, postponed
So
to December 19th, and we don't have to worry about that SEC championship game interfering with us because, well, we're not going to be in that. So,
it's not a concern. Yeah,
and Vandy don't have to
but
worry either.
yeah, I mean, we're looking at getting in potentially either playing this weekend or I don't, maybe getting another week off before we play Alabama. Who knows? Um,
But, I mean,
you
there's
know,
what 4 games that's been postponed already,
uh,
possibly
yeah,
canceled because of SEC championship implications. So,
right. I mean, just outright canceled. What are you going to do? I kind of figured something like this would hit us directly at some point, aside from just like the scheduled changings that they had to make. But who knows? Yeah, I had a feeling that at least one of our games would be impacted or be close to it, like it'd be questionable approaching game day. So here we are. Hopefully, this will be the only time we can get through the next 3 weeks after that without trouble. Yeah, we'll see. Um, any other just real concerning thoughts or anything on the football side of things?
not really. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, Gatewood's probably going to be our quarterback.
Yeah,
Game may or may not be played.
yeah. So
I mean, as of right now at 5 o'clock, Wednesday the 11th,
yeah,
the game's on. So,
game's on. Yeah,
if you're watching this 2 days later and there's no game, you're like, why are these idiots talking about a game? Well, because this was recorded
it's for
yeah,
Wednesday.
at this
Um,
time and date. So,
yeah. Well, kind of a shift in our usual format. We usually go very football heavy and then just do a little basketball scuttlebutt. But since we're in bye week, we're coming off of bye week, and we are exactly 2 weeks away, almost to the hour, from our first basketball game against Morehead State. Let's do a little basketball preview. I don't know about you, but the fact that we're like at 2 weeks now like makes me both really excited and kind of nervous because when they came out with the implications that if you have one positive case on the team, like your whole team has to sit for 2 weeks, that's going to be tough. Like that's going to really throw a wrench in a lot of stuff this year. I feel like that's a lot bigger than just quarantine the players affected and
I
roll on.
see basketball getting canceled well before March Madness this year.
Yeah, I mean if that's the way they're going to do it, yeah, like I don't know how they get through it. I mean, they're still trying to kind of feign confidence about it, but with those kind of implications, like it just seems impossible.
Yeah, that's a little
Um,
stringent. I was like, wow, that's. I mean, I know there's not that many players on the
yeah,
team, but like football.
right.
But at the same time, it's like, ouch.
Yeah, I mean, kind of looking ahead, I'm just kind of thinking. maybe we need to just enjoy this first string of games we have, like literally just every single game as though it might be the last one of the year. We got our season cut short last year. That stunk. It might happen again this year. It looks like it could be very likely, just the way they're going to do stuff. So who knows? Um, I mean, it's crazy to think. We've been waiting so long for basketball to come, and tomorrow you can turn on the SEC network and watch Pro Day, which I plan on it just because I'm so sick of not having basketball.
Right. And then a week from
I probably
now,
will
it
make
may
one
be
for
another
sure.
2 weeks before we have a basketball game of any kind.
Yeah,
All it takes, like you said, is
they're
one case from us or Morehead State. It's
that's
game's
it.
over.
It's
Forget that
over.
one.
Mhm.
Move
Yep.
on to the next one.
And it's crazy, like the way they've lined this thing up. I'm just pulling up the schedule here. We play Morehead State the day before Thanksgiving. We play Detroit Mercy the day after Thanksgiving. We play Richmond that Sunday, and then that Tuesday's Kansas. So that's going to be. That's just a lot. That's like the Bahamas all over again. Bahamas year one. Just a game like every other day. But at the same time, it's like get them in while you can because something happens, you're toast. like, uh, yeah,
Yeah. Almost hate to even make any predictions about basketball at this
yeah,
point, just because it's so
yeah,
up in the air, and it seemed like it was so like likely just a couple weeks ago,
yeah.
and now it's like, ooh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we talked, during the off season, kind of gearing up for football and basketball as they're piecing this stuff together. It was like, there's no way football is going to work, but basketball, they should have a shot. The NBA is making it work. There's less people, and it's looking. It's 2020, so obviously the exact opposite is kind of happening. So, like football's, had some bumps in the road, but otherwise, it's working out. And basketball, I'm sure they're going to do everything they possibly can to get us through and have some kind of NCAA tournament just because of the revenue. But oh, I don't really know what the answer is, considering like the way they're doing this thing.
right.
Um, Kind of looking ahead, like just in the general sense, how do you feel about our schedule this year? Yeah, obviously, just like football, there's an asterisk there because we had to redo some stuff and we just kind of have what we have. But like, what are your overall feelings about the schedule this year in terms of just strength of schedule and matchups and stuff?
It looks like it could be a very, very fun schedule if it comes to
Hmm.
fruition.
Yeah,
Um, I'm excited about it, but I'm trying not to get like overexcited because if we go a week and a half from now and all of a sudden, oh, this game's canceled,
yeah,
crap, and then there I'll be like, well, so much for basketball, starting off the way we
right,
hoped.
right.
So, just trying to take it 1 week at a time, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of the attitude we're going to have, especially once this thing gets rolling, is just, look ahead as though it's going to go that way until we're told otherwise, and just kind of enjoy every single game, even the stuff that seems like easier games or whatever. Like, just enjoy it because they might just pull the plug on this thing any day, depending on what happens. I like the schedule pretty well. Um, I understand. You get Morehead State. It's always fun to play an in-state
Mm-hmm.
team. Detroit Mercy, bring Brad Calipari back. Why not? It's a bummer the Richmond game. It should still be a fun game because they're not going to be a bad team. Like they should be pretty decent. They would have probably been like a ranked team coming into this year with us, but one of their best players got hurt and is basically going to be out the year. So that stinks for them and just for our schedule.
Yeah.
Um, Always fun playing Kansas. Uh, you round out the non-conference with Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, like at Rupp, which is pretty cool. UCLA, Louisville. It's not bad, especially considering the circumstances. Like, I can't be too upset about that.
Yeah, should be a fun schedule if we get to play it out.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just a couple days ago, I was like really, really excited, but like you said, after the
yeah,
news came out that of one player, I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
so much for getting
That's
excited about basketball.
yeah. Let's not get our hopes up. Just try to be optimistic and see what happens. Yeah, that's the thing, especially with how good it looks like our team could end up being. if everything goes the way it's looking, like I really want this year to work out because we could be really good. I mean, granted, it's an overhaul year. Safe to say, like, is this this probably the second biggest overhaul that just like rebuild that we've had to do in the Calipari era? When you look back to rebuild years, you have this year where we have Keon Brooks as the only returning player who's ever played for Kentucky, which is crazy. You have the 2014 year where you had Collie Stein and Poitras come back, and you also had like, you know, John Hood and some of those guys that didn't really play, but like they were there. Um, as far as like big time contributors, you had those two guys. Then you had a few years ago when Diallo was the only returning player, and he was just a redshirt. He'd never actually played in a game. So, I mean, safe to say, like we've seen Cal do this before, and it's worked out, you know, in different ways. Like we always end up good by the end. Um, I don't know. It's like, especially in terms of like comparing this to the other years we've had to do this sort of thing, you know, and this one was very unexpected. But you know, just kind of overarching, kind of looking at our roster for this year, like what are your kind of key thoughts on
We've got a
everything?
lot of talent, and I think it's gonna be a bumpy start like always. I mean, everybody gets so hyped up and they get so mad when we lose a couple games, but
Yeah,
honestly, I think it's kind of par for the course this season. I think we're going to have another, like I said, it's a rebuilding year. We got a lot of talent, but they got to learn to play
figure
together.
that.
Once they
Right,
get that down, and then Cal can start, running some plays with them instead of just focusing on getting them to play together and play his
right.
style of offense, his style of defense. Um, which let's face it, they're going to learn how to play man. I don't care
Yeah,
what Cal says as far as, oh, we're going to do zone this year. No, you're not. Just don't even start.
whatever.
Don't
Yeah,
want to hear it.
that's a throwaway
I'm
comment.
not I'm not falling for that.
No,
This is not April Fool's Day either, so if you're
yeah,
just trying to throw an early one out, just stop because I know better.
yeah.
I think pretty much everybody does at this point. Not unless he
I
plans on getting
agree.
teed out of every game. Then we might,
We'll see how these new assistant coaches do when
yeah,
they have to take over.
yeah. See if they're
Yeah,
they're all
for
about
sure.
running zone.
Yeah,
But yeah, like I said, there's going to be some bumps and hurdles along the way, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope they just click right out the gate and are awesome. Yeah, I mean, we had that with the 2010 team.
mhm,
First time the guys that
right.
played together, they came out the gate playing pretty daggone good.
Just looking good. I mean, you had some scares like where they almost lost to Miami to Florida because they were just kind of getting stuff figured out, but they didn't look bad. They just looked like they were piecing it together.
Yeah.
Um, the a big thing, especially just looking at this roster top to bottom, and especially when we're talking like these first 3 or 4 games. The thing I'm going to be curious, like I said, comparing it to these other 2 years where we've had to do this in the Cal era, outside of like 2010. I'm going to be really curious to see, because we actually did bring in some like transfers, some older guys that have like good experience. I'm curious just to see like when you're pairing them with stars like BJ Boston and Terrence Clark to see like if the Olivier Sarr and Davion Mintz factor, like how much that helps to see if it is a huge difference or not.
I think it will
I
be.
mean, yeah, I mean, I think it should help to an extent, especially, and that was kind of my next question for you. I mean, we've seen, some just kind of scuttlebutt about practices and like how guys are looking. It looks like, Mintz and Askew are both looking really good in practice. One of my big things is like, Moorhead stayed in 2 weeks. Who's your starting point guard? Like based on anything like you've just seen and just kind of thrown out the speculation.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
it's a toughie
That is a
for
toughie,
sure.
and I guess we'll know who our point guard is for the rest of the year when we play Moorhead.
See, and that's the thing. Like,
Because
um,
Cal picks
like
his point guard and sticks with it.
yeah, and I'll be curious to see because I could understand like if especially for the first game if he threw Mintz out like as a starter just because like he's a proven he's got good numbers like he doesn't. he's not crazy turnover prone. He's a good facilitator, just in the general sense, like a good decision maker, passable. You put him around these other stars, he can at least just kind of be the maestro and get the thing going. Um, and especially, I mean, it sounds like Askew's pretty good. It sounds like he has good basketball IQ from the way they're talking, but it also sounds like they're planning on him being a 2-year guy,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So, like you said, typically, like whenever he picks his point guard and just runs with it. Um, yeah, that'll be something. I'll be curious to see if anything kind of goes differently this year in that respect, especially and we'll probably see some more, just practice report stuff that comes out over the
I
next
could
couple weeks.
see. Yeah, I don't know. I hate to make a comment this early without seeing any footage of the team playing.
Yeah, yeah, and it's really weird when you see them making comments and stuff about how, especially at like the point guard position or just being, positionless basketball, how they talk about, you've got guys like Terrence Clark on the team who, if they decide to go with some weird lineup or if they just need to, like he's a capable like facilitator and could actually just bring the ball up the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm not really surprised, just because the main thing to me, I could see Cal kind of just roll, even if like Mintz and Askew are out on the floor at the same time, having them just kind of taking turns bringing it up, having Clark do it some, mainly just because you're seeing a lot of that kind of stuff in the NBA now.
Yeah, you
And
do.
whatever they do in the NBA, like he's going to roll with it. Now, granted, he's got to get over his hump of like just being way too old school about stuff and not really embracing like kind of new era of basketball and how things are played. But I don't know. Like, I hope that's kind of I guess that's the thing. That's what I'm hoping to see, just because I think that would work really well with the pieces we have. Because there should be a lot of versatility from the way everybody looks on paper, including the kind of proven things like Olivier Sarr. um, but yeah, I mean, I think after the first couple games or so, we're going to have a pretty good idea of exactly like how versatile everybody is and what kind of options they have. Um, and what are your? They came out with the AP poll a couple days ago for the preseason. They put us at number 10. What are your thoughts on that? Like making the top 10, but just barely.
Completely,
I
100% okay with that.
Yeah, I agree
I
wholeheartedly.
don't want to see him
I
get the
saw
big hand.
that I saw that and I was very, very happy. Pretty much like because I knew it was coming out and I was thinking like, what would I like to see here? And I thought number 9 or number 10 would be perfect because I mean we deserve to be in the top 10 just because on paper, I mean it's a preseason poll, so like whatever. If you're that good on paper, even if you're unproven, like you should be up that high. But I think especially in some of these recent years in the Cal era, they've kind of learned to not just look at, oh my gosh, there's like 7 freshmen on that team that are all supposed to be really good. Let's make them number 1. Like they've kind of learned not to go that route anymore. It seems like it's smart. I mean, we could come out in that first game and look terrible at first, or we could come out, get through the first 3 or 4 games and be world beaters.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say, but I like the idea of let's start at number 10. You know, we have after 4 games we'll have played the Bluegrass Showcase games, or whatever it's called, and Kansas. If we get through those games and look pretty good and get a win over Kansas, then within like a week we're going to be in the top, 4 or 5, something like that. So, I mean, that's how it always shakes out. Preseason puts everybody like on this list, and then it all just shifts like in the first 2 weeks. So we'll be where we deserve by then, and that's what counts as far as I'm concerned. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely see that. Like I said,
yeah,
this year we don't have Big Blue Madness to, you know.
they're having Big Blue Madness. Apparently, they're still going to scrimmage at Memorial.
Okay.
They're doing they're doing that. Let's see, it's on the 20th at 9 o'clock, and yeah, they're doing it in Memorial Coliseum And I think they said most of it is going to be just like prepackaged, video packages, different stuff like that, interviews, whatever else. As far as I know, I'm pretty sure they're still supposed to come out and have like a quick scrimmage. No blue-white game, but
Right. That's kind of what I was getting at. I mean, there's not going to be a
yeah, like a real
yeah,
scrimmage to really see stuff. Yeah, because that's always a fun one just to see
just to see what they
five
can
on
do
five,
on
see
offense because they
everybody.
don't play defense in
Yeah,
that. But
yeah. But to see, like, do we have any shooters? Like, do we have a guy like how's Terrence Clark going to look getting to the rim?
ball handling,
Yeah, we're
stuff
really
like that, and not getting to
yeah,
see that sucks.
yeah. I mean, it's going to be different because, like you said, like we're really not going to know what our team is until we tip off against Moorhead. So, you know, just like football, things are kind of different. I mean, I guess I don't know if you'd really call Moorhead like a traditional like tune-up game or not, but it's the closest thing we got this year, and we don't get like we said, don't get the scrimmage. So I don't know. It's kind of like deja vu. Here we are back to saying, well, we'll just kind of see what happens and just roll ahead.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know.
just kind of crappy, you
Um,
know.
yeah, and granted, here over the next couple of weeks, we should have some more stuff to talk about. Some stuff should be a little more concrete about, just stuff we're hearing in practice, or just kind of the rumor mill as far as basketball goes. Once we get this close to Big Blue Madness, you start hearing a lot more stuff. So right now, we're just kind of looking ahead and speculating and hoping, with our fingers crossed, as we say prayers, that we
Yeah,
get to
we
play.
really don't have nothing definitive to talk about this week because we had a bye week, and then basketball hasn't really started yet. So
Yeah, just kind of is what it
kind of beating
is.
the
Is there
episode
any?
up.
Yeah. Man, especially on the basketball front, anything else you thought we really needed to touch on this week, or we've
Well, I did want to
just kind of
bring up
been.
the fact that the UK rifle team broke two school records on their relay against Murray State.
It's big,
It was big. It's actually big
impressive.
enough that without any of the without the number one or two teams losing, Kentucky jumped from 3-1.
Jeez, that is awesome.
Yeah, and Murray State
Our
was ranked
rifle
number
team is
8.
impressive.
So there's another school in the
Yeah,
state that's in the top 10. I think Morehead State was as well. I
sure.
think they were like 6th or 7th. So
Yeah, nice. I like it.
yeah,
Do our rifle team. They are legit,
they are. I mean,
big time.
considering they had
Last
two
couple of years,
Olympians on their team last year,
Mhm.
to go out and break two school records is pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're no joke. Um,
No, it's not a big sport as far as fans go, but I like to cover a little bit of it. So
I mean, hey, it's especially something we can hang our hat on, being that good. So why not?
yeah, and it's something to
um,
just throw out a little bit of when we've had a off week. So,
absolutely. Yeah,
but
well,
happy
I guess that
Veterans
pretty much
Day. I
does
want to
it.
say that all the
That's
veterans
true.
out there. If any veterans are
Yes,
listening, happy Veterans Day, guys. Um,
absolutely.
thank you for everything
Yeah,
that you've
thank you
done.
for your service, for sure. Well, yeah, I guess that pretty much wraps up this little hodgepodge bye week episode. Yeah, thanks for listening. If you got anything else you want to say about whether it's football, just kind of looking ahead at these next 4 games, anything about basketball that we didn't really touch on. There's not a whole lot to touch on right now, but anything else anybody wants to kind of throw in there, or just add to the conversation, we'd love to read your comments in the comment section. Be sure to like and share the video if you like this. Subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we'll have a Vanderbilt game. And if we do, we'll be talking about that next week, and maybe a little more basketball stuff as it comes up. But yeah, that pretty much does it. And thanks for watching again, and we'll see you next time.